Hello, welcome to Showboys. How's it going? My name is Mike. I'm your host. I'm joined as always by my good friend and co-host Nick, and my other good friend and other co-host for our special What's Playing episodes, Chad. How's it going, guys? Swell, swell.
Doing great.
We're also joined by an old friend of mine, who's we've been rekindled of late thanks to an amazing Pokemon game. Uh, Underfunded Scientist, aka Knox, aka actual name Thomas. How's it going, buddy?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me here. I'm super excited.
You bet. We already have a few comments. This is crazy. Biosif says, I'm looking forward to this episode. Well, we're here with
You're
the
in the right
episode.
place.
Look no further. Just listen, I guess. And then we have Dragon Knot Studios. Woo, woo, woo.
I like that name.
Thanks, guys. That is a cool name. And then our
he's
very
here.
own underfunded scientist, yo, chat, yo. You might recognize the name. He's been lurking in the chat last few weeks.
Man, I love the streams.
Thanks, bro. So we wanted to have you on to talk to you about this game you made called Glow Home. But before we do that, maybe we should, tell everyone how we know each other.
For sure. I love to talk about the old days.
Oh, yeah. The glory days.
Any chance Mike gets to talk about Dust.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
I feel like, the varsity football player who's like 45 but still wears a leather jacket, like that's how I feel about Dust.
Yeah, man. It's like, and people who didn't play it at the time have no idea it ever existed, right? And so you can't even like talk to people about it. And it was such a good game. It really was.
Yeah, so Underfunded and we slayed on the battlefield of Dust 514 together, helped run a corp in that game, which is basically a guild. Had many a late nights conquering planets and killing clones and slaying and healing, and it was a grand time. And when the game shut down, we kind of lost contact with each other, and I don't know. I forget how long ago it was. A couple weeks ago, I threw a random Facebook post out about looking for people who stream games, etc. And you commented on it. I was like, "Oh my gosh, how's it going, man? What's up?" And then we started talking, and then you told me about Glow Home, and I thought it was super cool, and really wanted to talk to you about it and what got you into developing games. So that's kind of how this happened. But yeah, I'll spare Chad and Nick having to talk about Dust.
Literally kicking Chad out. Like that's how much you're gonna spare him.
So bizarre.
Right.
Yeah, see, we talk about Dust for like 2 minutes and Chad already leaves.
Yeah.
Man, you had to be there.
Yeah. Oh man, I heard Dust and I thought CS 1.6. Lol. I don't know what that means, but I bet it's funny. But yeah, so I guess we'll just start with what got you interested in developing games.
I've always just loved games in general, and I remember, even being really young, I wanted to be able to make my own games, and I played with things like RPG Maker and stuff, but I never got serious with it. And I learned about Unreal Engine maybe 2 years ago now, and I started messing with it a little bit without any like tutorials or anything the first time, and had no luck because just it was so much to try to learn. You know what I mean? It's not. You think of making games like it's like a drag and drop, like it would be in like RPG Maker or Sims, right? And some things are like that, but there's so much more to it. Like every little interaction that's in the game, or any number that gets moved or adjusted, that all has to be somewhere in the code. And so it was terrible at the beginning, and I gave it up. And then I don't know, like almost a year ago now, I was watching some indie game get played. I can't even remember now what it was, and I got suggested a tutorial for how to use Unreal Engine after I watched it, and it was Ryan Laley, and he's like an amazing indie developer. He actually taught computer science in school over in Europe somewhere. I can't even remember where, but he actually just recently went full-time on YouTube with tutorials, and just his channel and other channels like that. I started watching and learning how to do small things, and just over time, the thing I was practicing on, trying to teach myself, slowly became more and more of being a game. You know what I mean? Like it was just try to make this guy move, and then once I could do that, it was like, well, it'd be cool if it like hurt the player when he made it to him, you know, and just kept adding to it and building up. And eventually I realized that I could actually make a full game, you know, and I feel like at this point I could pretty much make anything that I wanted to. The only factors are, you know, how long is it going to take, and how many assets do you need to pull off what you're trying to do, you know?
Right. That's so cool. I don't think I could teach myself how to do something like that. That's crazy.
So you're saying like the sum of the parts is pretty simple, but really after that it's like the resources it takes, obviously like time and just skills in other areas. That's where making a game just gets out of control.
Yeah, because you don't realize like how much you have to do to actually make the thing you're trying to happen. Like, you know, like say you want something to be able to shoot a fireball, right? You know, so you're just like, how to make it shoot a fireball, and then you go into this rabbit hole of, you know, you have to have like what the actual, like the object that's going to be the fireball, and you've got all these options that it could be. Like it could be a solid mesh, or it could be a particle system, you know, and then you have to get into, you know, that projectile's behavior, and then, you know, the code to initiate it, the code to end it, like and there's always I used to wonder like how games could ever have bugs, and I haven't yet to upload an update that I thought was golden and it'd be bug free, and me have to do a patch the next day when I play tested the hell out of it and found it. But it's because there's so much, you know, and so there's oversights, and it just well,
especially since you're doing it, you know, one man crew all by yourself, you know, it's probably hard to, you know, go through everything with a fine-tooth comb, like as you're trying to get it out and playable. So it's funny how when you're on the other side, it's like, I understand.
Like games impress me so much more now, and what before I would have thought was easily, you know what I mean, but now it's just like, no, that was so complicated. Like you know, it's just
the simplest interaction is just and you probably see like all the different things happening now as you're playing games that went into it. That's pretty cool.
Exactly. Like, have you guys heard of a new game? I think it's called Biomutant. It's pretty good. Some of the stuff in that game took so much work, like just trying to make a ball bounce takes so much, you know what I mean? There's physics involved and collisions, and you have to, you know, make it happen like less intensely every bounce so it's realistic, you know, or whatever. It's just, and there's so much crazy stuff in that game that took a lot of work, and that was a really small development team, a small company.
It's just it's insane how intricate things like gaming, and I don't know. I just a lot of respect to anyone who can do it, let alone someone like yourself who taught themselves, and then, you know, the entire project is done, you know, solely by you. That's so awesome. So was there any game in particular, like specifically, that got you into wanting to develop, or was it just kind of like, you know, you loved games and you've always wanted to make one?
You know, I mean, it was, I do remember that the deciding factor was when I was watching that indie game and got suggested a tutorial afterward, you know, but it wasn't like a specific game, no, not really, that made me want to start playing or making them. Are you trying to give me kisses?
Hey, we got to pause for Kisses
Hey.
from the kiddos. Wow,
Pause for
I
the
hope
fam.
No one flips that out of
Right.
context.
Right. Like, I didn't.
Mike is trying to get us canceled.
I know.
Right.
Welcome back, Chad.
Yeah.
For those of you who may be listening to the audio version later, Chad's having a little technical difficulties. He had to drop out there for a
It
second.
was.
He's back.
Welcome
and
back.
in action. So why don't you tell us a little bit about Glow Home? And while you're talking, I'm going to go ahead and throw it up here on the stream so people can kind of see what the gameplay looks like. So, yeah, floor is yours,
Awesome.
sir.
Yeah, I always try to describe it as quickly and simply as I can, you know. So it's a twin stick shooter. So you move with one stick, you shoot with the other one. And then it's set in space, so you got all these asteroids and stars and stuff. It's endless, and there's a lot of procedurally generated stuff. That little dangly thing you see there holding onto that asteroid is a physics-based towing system. And so you can attach to asteroids and tow them back to the home star. When you do that, it increases how much gold you earn per second, as well as the golden cows that have a chance to drop when you kill the enemies.
Nice.
Yeah, that was actually suggested in my Discord. They were like, it'd be hilarious if there was a cow, because cows and UFOs go together, right? Which I didn't even thought of it, right? But at first it was going to be a realistic cow, and there was like mooing sounds, and you know, it wasn't going to get hurt, but
You got to go out and record the moves too.
right. And but put it in there, it made it look pretty gruesome. You know, the cow mooing all the time, dangling around weightlessly with the physics. And
Yeah.
I was like, I wanted to be friendly for everybody. You know, not that it bothered me, but I was like, somebody might not let their 6-year-old throw real cows into the sun. So
Yeah.
you know. So I ended up going with this like toy looking kind of cow, and then I made it to where it doesn't move, it doesn't make sound, and to make sure it doesn't look realistic at all, it's like gold plated looking. It's real reflective.
Yeah, it looks like a statue or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that it couldn't be argued that it was like cruelty to animals or something, and make it higher rated.
Right.
But yeah,
I love the colors.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
So, like,
definitely.
vibrant and glowy, obviously. Glow Home.
yeah.
But yeah, it's very they pop, and it's very catchy, or like catching to your eyeballs.
Yeah.
So much so that I can't talk right now.
Yeah, man. I literally the first thing I wanted to learn when I was like, all right, we're gonna do a tutorial and figure out how to do something and make a game. It was how to make objects glow, because in every game I've ever played, the glowy things were always the best or the most important, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so I was like, there's gonna be glowy stuff, and I can't even remember what the first thing it was I made glow. It was a lot later that I changed up what things were glowing or whatever, but yeah, and the glow in the game here is actually, it's a combination of lighting effects. There's emissive textures, so like the actual UV coordinate maps for like how the enemies look and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They're emissive themselves, but then also all of everything that has that emissive texture also has an individual point light, which is able to cast reflections and shadows, which is how you get both this like aura kind of effect around everything, like the glow, and then also the light interactions with the other objects, like the asteroids flying by and stuff like that.
Yeah. So you say it's endless, and
Yes.
there's a lot of procedural generation.
Yep.
And I've been in your Discord. I've watched a few videos of gameplay from other people who play, and it's really cool how you have. I'm just going to restart this as we're talking about it.
Please be nice.
You earn gold, and then you spend it for upgrades to your weapons, and the enemies just kind of get crazier as you power up. Is that kind of like the gist?
Yeah. There's no cap on any of the upgrades or the level or amount of gold that you can have or anything like that, and it's all just scaling. It's all the math, instead of it just being hard numbers, is percents, so that it's not like a linear curve. has, I can't even remember what the name of the curve is. Like it gets more and more difficult every time that you level up, rather than being like an equal increment more difficult, if that makes sense.
Like an exponential curve.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. And my goodness,
dude, we're all dads. We get
right?
it.
Yeah.
You gotta get off of her.
But yeah, for those of you who are just listening to the audio version of this, there's a lot of gameplay videos out on YouTube of streamers and other people playing it. But Underfunded Scientist also puts out dev blogs regularly, and the video that we have kind of looping here on the stream is just a gameplay for the Android release that he put out. And it's such a visually cool game.
It really is, yeah.
And I'm sure that it's like one of those super addicting games that you're like, I got a few minutes to kill, and the next time you look up, you're like an hour and a half later, you're like, oh, yeah, what happened?
Yeah, man. Like I spend so much time working on it, and I still play it so much on my phone. It's pretty ridiculous. Like
that's good.
Yeah.
So speaking of phone, it's available on Android and PC, right?
Yep. And there's a link to it in the description of all my videos and on my channel. And it's a name your price function, but 0 is totally an option. You can get it for free on Android or PC. And you click the download link. And because it's a third party, it's not on Google Play yet. You have to give permission to make downloads from Chrome, but it'll pop up automated messages for that when you click it and everything.
We'll make sure you'll have to send me a link, and then we'll put it in our episode description too.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't play this for free. Throw this man a few dollars.
Yes.
Yeah, man. I've been working on it about a year, and I update it at least weekly, sometimes more often. Like I just did the poison and the fire update. Like right now in this footage, if you see how the enemies blink red when they take damage, and the player does also, I've changed that to where the glow gets dimmer when anything takes damage by like 75% or something like that, if I remember right. And that way that I could add the color red to the rotation of colors that everything can spawn as, which is one of the randomly generated things. And for both the player and the enemy, you could be red now. And when the enemies are red, they're like on fire. And then their green enemies have a poison effect now. And they both have different from each other damage over time effects.
That's so cool. As far as like, if anyone's ever playing this, like, why can't I be a red? Like, why can't my character be red? And there's like a really good reason for it.
Right.
Exactly.
And I guess those are the things that are like always so hard to like think about. Like, you're always sitting there like, oh, why isn't this a thing? Well, there's probably a good reason.
Right.
That's a simple matter of like something else in the game is already red.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. But you found a way around it, which is cool.
Yeah. It was hard too. Like because right now, which I know you guys probably don't know what this is. Somebody watching might know that knows a little about dev, but there's parameters on material instances, and basically it's putting a variable to something that you can change later because it's a variable instead of a hard set number, and you can edit them after its creation, like real time in the game. And it doesn't cost very much on the CPU, as not nearly as much as it would cost if you were just to create a material like from scratch mid-game the same way, right? So you're just saying use this material but change this thing about it so that it's different mid-game, And so like I was using those kind of parameters to change from whatever color they were to being red when they got damaged, and just switching that to where it dimmed the glow. I learned about scalar parameters, which can be basically anything, whereas the vector parameters can only be whatever a vector is, which is a location, and also vector 3s can be colors. And so, there's like everything in game dev has some huge rabbit hole you get into when you try to figure out something, some ridiculous new learning curve, some new term you've never heard before.
I can imagine. We were Facebook messaging before the show, and you were telling me kind of freaking out about
Yeah, it was.
updating the game into the new version of Unreal. And,
Yeah, so I
so
was
what happened
on
there?
what I don't even want to, I might say it wrong. Go back to our message. It was a 4.24, I think I was on, and then I updated to 4.25. I can't remember, but regardless, the game engine, Unreal Engine that I'm developing on, I've been using it for the project for nearly a year now, and it's updated a couple times since then. And when they released a beta of Unreal Engine 5, just to see what my game looked like in it, I imported it into it and just to check it out or whatever, even though it's like crazy unstable. And it was really unstable and like game breaking. So I was like, all right, can't do that yet until the full release. But the like for real updates that are, you know, sanctioned to be bug free or whatever, they came out and I was like 2 behind or something on the engine that Glow Home was being made on. And, you know, I have access to update at any time or whatever, but it's like this huge undertaking or really high risk, I guess, is really what the problem is. Right. It's not a lot of work. It's just, like I was telling him, a couple times I've lost the project completely, like way earlier in development. You know, I barely really looking at the work now and the work then. It wasn't much that I had done yet, but for how little I knew, it was you know, like a month of work or so. I had to completely restart like 3 times, and one of them was because I was trying to update. And but now that I know how to do it, and I got it to work, and so now it's going to be on the most recent update of Unreal Engine that's being developed with. And the whole reason I needed to do it is there's this new plugin. It's a Cascade to Niagara converter, which is basically, so particle systems is basically anything you can see that isn't a mesh is a particle system. It's usually tiny stuff, or like spells in video games are often particle systems, like dust or leaves and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, right.
And so the fire particle system was made with Cascade, which is the old Unreal Engine particle system. And there's a new one that they have that's in, they're both still in the game, but they haven't, or in the game. They're both still in Unreal Engine, but the new one is way better. It has a lot more functionality. And Biosafe Painful Illusion work. It really is. It was. It's happened like 3 times. You know, not to get too sidetracked, but yeah, my kid deleted it one time, my youngest, and literally like she just mashed buttons on the laptop, somehow managed to hit the right ones to delete it completely. And then one time I lost it trying to update, and one time I lost it trying to move it from that dinosaur of a laptop to this new PC I got, which still is a potato, but it's better than the dinosaur.
Right.
But yeah,
that's awesome. Do you have any like long-term plans for Glow Home, or are you just kind of updating as ideas come? Yeah.
You know, for sure, a little bit of both. Like the elements that I just added, poison and fire, and I'm about to bang out a couple more of them. I'm sure. I got ice in mind, definitely. Nice. But that was suggested over on Twitter. Good friend of mine, indie developer, you can find pretty much everywhere, YouTube and everything. Stupid Game Experiments is what he goes by. He suggested that the colors of the enemies should differentiate something about them, so that they weren't just different colors for looking different sake, which is nice. But you know, because that was the whole original reason, was just like, I want the enemies to be spiced up a little bit, so make them different colors randomly. Yeah. And then he was, you know, it should have a purpose. And I was like, you're totally right. And so I did the fire guy and the poison guy, and gonna make one of the blue ones, either the dark blue or the like more cyan looking one is gonna be ice. Nice. And have a slow effect. But the long term, you know, there's a bunch of stuff I want to add. You know, like super long term, I want to make it multiplayer so that you can multiple, you know, people or whatever could be in the same space at the same time and maybe cooperate. Yeah. And then also want to get it on Google Play, which it was only like a $25 fee to put it on Google Play. I just haven't done it yet. It's honestly, it's a sea of paperwork, and I didn't want to mess any of it up, so I haven't done it yet. But yeah, and other platforms like Apple and stuff like that, the fee is a lot higher. It's like $500 for the Apple one or something like that. And I'm like, yeah, so not a goal anytime soon, but eventually, you know, I would love it. Yeah. But yeah. And then like I get game wise, I've worked a little bit on a new enemy. I don't know if you've seen it anywhere. I can't even think of. It's on my TikTok. I think you could check out. It's like a cloth based enemy. I described it as like a space jellyfish, but it doesn't have tentacles. So in Blender, I figured out watching this tutorial that you could make a cloth object with other solid objects for collision on the inside of it. And so I animated those objects around, and the cloth object just kind of flops around and looks real interesting. Yeah, excuse me. So it's like, it looked like space jellyfish. Yeah. And so I was thinking about making that a new enemy in the game. But definitely, even if not him, there's going to be some new enemies, and people want boss battles, so that'll be a thing soon.
Oh, that would.
Oh
be
yeah,
cool.
that would be really cool. Definitely.
Because right now it's just like as the player levels up, the enemies get more health and bonus to how much damage they can do. And then it's just up to the player to earn enough money and spend the money on, because there's ship upgrades now also. You can get more health, more speed, as well as damage, rate of fire, and number of projectiles on all the weapons. And they all do different things. Like the cannon shoots like a shotgun kind of spread shot, and then the missiles are the only ones that are homing. And they do more damage individually than the cannon. And then the plasma is the only one that ricochets, and it has this cool multiplier of damage. When every time it ricochets, it does, I think, 1.5 times more damage. I can't remember, maybe double damage every time it collides.
Oh dang!
Yeah.
It gives me some big like Galaga
Yeah.
vibes. And that's super
Asteroids.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There was
definitely.
there was a game similar to that when the PS4 launched. I only remember
Yeah.
playing it.
Resogun.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. I had a
I
lot
don't
of
even know
fun
if I've
playing that
seen
game.
it. Yeah.
But that was like a horizontal
Yeah.
of asteroids. But yeah, those games are so fun. I really gotta try Glow Home. I just haven't gotten around to it because I have a crippling addiction to Pokemon Unite.
No, yeah, I
MOBAs.
hear you, man. I've been playing Unite a bunch.
Yeah.
But yeah, your game, the visuals have inspired my lighting tonight.
Yeah, I see
usually I
it.
got my static lights on, but,
Right.
You look like you're in the game.
I
Right,
actually
I love
am.
it.
I'm the boss battle.
Those colors do
There you
match
go.
so good.
Just be Mike's head.
Yeah, just make
Right.
me the floppy guy.
Yeah, there you go.
You're the cloth enemy. The fabric enemy.
Yes. Do you have any plans to make other games, or is that kind of like?
Yeah, no, I've hardcore wanted to start working on another one, man. But I literally like I'll create a new project and I don't even really get into doing anything in it. Even though I have an idea, like I want to make a game that is somehow like a ecosystem that is just kind of going on around you, and you get to interact with it as the player, right? I haven't worked out much more than that, but just like you see these traffic games popping up right now, like Mini Motorist, I think is that one. The idea of that, like these cars have to get there regardless what you do, but you can help it happen better, and something like that, or like an ant farm. I don't even know, but yeah, I want to have.
I could get down on an ant farm sim. That's a good
Yeah.
idea.
I was just playing one the other day on mobile. It was like, it wasn't a great game, but it was fun still, and I don't even know why. It's just like they got stuff to do, and you're here to help them out. And so that idea seems really fun to me. But every time I feel like I'm cheating on Glow Home, I'd be like, well, there's 100 things I need to do right now. Just open that and do something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I will soon. For a minute I was thinking about doing a game jam, and that's, if you guys aren't familiar, they'll have like some sort of theme that'll be like botanical or whatever, and so everybody has to make a game in this time limit to this theme, and then they're judged and voted on and stuff.
Oh yeah,
but
that's cool.
yeah, but I didn't want to do it because like the one I was going to do, it only had 48 hours, right? And so I got to thinking about it. Yeah, and I was like, when I get like 4 hours a day if I'm lucky to be able to work on the game, right? And so it's like 8 hours to be able to do the challenge. I was like, there's no way I can make anything that'll be any kind of good amount of time. So I think I am gonna start something for where you're just kind of helping some sort of ecosystem. And I don't want it to be that some things could get wiped out, right? Like if you don't do it right, they're dead, or like if it's an ant colony and you didn't help them find the food enough, then that ant colony is dead now.
Yeah,
Murderers.
it's interesting.
Right. I thought that would be really cool.
It is really cool.
Because
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like in Glow Home, everything has a life cycle too. Like the background stars, they go through a life cycle kind of. I mean, it's not like scientifically accurate, but it's kind of the same. Like they start one size, they slowly swell, and then they snap down to real small before they disappear.
Oh wow, that's super cool, man.
Little
It's
details.
really cool. Yeah.
So again, why don't you tell the people where they can find the game to download?
Yeah, if you go to here, I think it's itch.io/underfunded. Let me see. Yeah, it'll be underfundedscientist.itch.io/glowhome. I'm pretty sure if you just type in, let me test it because I can't change the URL. I'm sorry. But yeah, underfunded. Yeah, if you just type in underfunded scientist itch.io into Google, I'm the top result.
There you go.
But yeah, so you don't have to remember that ridiculous URL.
Yeah.
I can throw it into the chat though for everybody.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys definitely should go check this game out and support this man. If you
appreciate it.
Listen to the show or watch the show, especially starting this year in 2021, we've been very vocal about supporting indie content creators. So
we appreciate it, man.
Yeah, when you get a chance, check out this website, check out this game. It looks super fun. You can play it on your phone, you can play it on your computer, and you can pay whatever you want for it, which is super cool.
Yeah, if you think it's hot garbage, you can totally just make it 0. If you love it, you can still make it 0. It's whatever.
But you
Buy
should
it again.
throw this man some bones.
Yes.
And you have a YouTube page. You're on Twitter. You got Discord server. I'm sure just you can type Underfunded Scientist and find those
pretty
things.
much.
How frequently do you put out your dev blogs?
Well, I was for a long time doing them weekly, but then it got harder to be able to make enough things that are visual changes that would be noticeable to the player all happen in a week. Like I would do, I'd spend a week just doing behind the scenes stuff like changing damages of weapons, default value and stuff like that the people will never pay attention to. And I realized
blog of you just like typing on your keyboard.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was like, I don't have anything
The
new
real
to show
life
you
of a game
guys.
developer.
Yeah,
exactly. So I've been spacing it out just to when I have enough that I can actually say is visually new or some new mechanic, like I'm working on editing devlog 10 right now, and it'll have all the elementals changes and then the damage numbers now that was the other thing, instead of just dimming the glow when they take damage, there's also now floating damage text, and that's also slightly procedurally generated because whatever color the player is the same color the cannon projectile and the home star will be, and now the floating damage text for the cannon will be that same color regardless what you spawn as.
Nice. It's just super cool that you are like so transparent with the progress of the game and keeping your players just in the loop of everything that's going on all the time. Super cool.
I appreciate that. Yeah. When I started out, that was like the whole thing. Like I was in a couple Discords, but they were just like either tutorial Discords or small game devs, and I just wanted a way to be able to show other people what I was working on and like get feedback or I guess encouragement, right? And so I started uploading just short clips of what I was working on to the YouTube, and even then it was because I was on the dinosaur of a laptop. I was recording it on my phone, looking at this laptop screen. And like I think they're still public on there. I don't know. They're terrible. So you don't want to watch them, but but they're there. And it was just so I could like put the link into the Discord and be like, hey, tell like, is this terrible? Like, am I doing things right? And it just progressed to like wanting to be able to make that like actually bearable to watch, and just slowly gotten better at it. I'm still failing terribly, I'm sure, but way better than I was a year ago.
There you go.
Hey, that's all that matters. Progress.
Yep, right.
But yeah.
I was gonna ask.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Sure.
So like when you were first starting off with this game, did you know what you wanted to make, or was it more of like a natural course of like you learned how to do this, so then you did that, and I think you learned it kind of like snowballed from basically your learning experience?
Yeah, it definitely. Yeah, I would say the game was highly influenced by just my learning experience and the path it took, and it wasn't even. I didn't mean for it to be that way. It just
Right.
Everything I looked up how to do, I just kind of put in the same project, and then I would try to work on how to make it work with each other, and just went from there. Like I think I said earlier, I wanted the enemies to chase the player. That was one of the first things. Like I made the enemies glow, and then I made them chase the player.
Yeah.
And then it was like, how do I make them damage the player? And then I found out, even if you can make that happen, the player won't ever know if he doesn't have a health bar,
Right.
And then it's like
just randomly die.
Yeah. And then
this game sucks.
Yeah. And so then you got to figure out how to make a health bar. And then I was like, the enemies look real boring because they weren't. The reason they're cubes is they were just cubes when it started. Like 6 sides, like glowed a random color. That was all they had going on.
Yeah.
And I started messing around with Blender, and I gave them eyeballs and made one way smaller than the other one. And for a while they had an antenna, but they don't have one now. Looked a little bit weird. And I learned about geometry nodes on Blender, and it's a crazy powerful thing where it basically uses noise over an entire surface, and then everywhere that's a 1, so everywhere that's black in that noise pattern, then it's a yes basically, and everywhere that's a 0, it's opaque. And then they use that to just decide yes or no on locations, and you can change all the settings, like how many of these to pick and how dense the noise is and stuff. But picks all these points, and then you can instance another mesh on all those points. And so I literally made him a cube with eyeballs, and then I used the geometry nodes to put a bunch of himself all over it. And so he's like made up of the smaller guys now, which makes sense because when you kill the big one, a little one pops out, right? And so it's it actually worked out pretty good.
Russian doll thing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what they are, nest dolls.
And then it kept going from there. Like they were just running around in like on a plane that didn't even have a texture on it. It was just gray, and yeah. So I was like, all right, well, let's just make that transparent, and they're flying, right? And then I was like, well, that's cool, but now I wanted to make it look like they're in space instead of just flying, because I didn't want to do clouds at the time. So I was like, I need stars in the background, and then asteroids. Then it was like, it'd be cool if you could do something with the asteroids, so then you could tow them home. But then it was like, there's a million of them, so the player could get too much gold. So then I made it where only the asteroids that glow can be towed. And balancing is one of the hardest things. It really is, because you put in some new feature and you have no idea where to put it on the hierarchy of and it just completely breaks something. Like when I put golden cows in, it was like, I can't even remember. I want to say it took the number that was the level of the player, and then it multiplied that by the number of enemies in game. So like if you were level 10, the population would be 10, so it'd be times 10. And that's another reason it's procedural. Like I have all these numbers tied together so they like progressively get harder or whatever. We talked about that already, didn't we? Yeah. But yeah, it's balancing is hard, man, because you never know like what it's going to be like after level 10.
That's another one of those things where you're like, crap, I can't get mad at like balance teams now for games that I play.
Right.
I understand.
Really, it's so hard. Yeah.
Well, I always like to give MOBAs a break when it comes to like balancing, especially when they have like 100 and 200 here, like different playable characters. Like, like stuff's gonna be unbalanced all the time.
Exactly.
That's so much.
Plus, you got to factor in the whole like it's free to play. So whenever they release a new champion, it's going to be unbalanced, and then people will probably spend real money to buy it.
Yeah.
Unbalanced.
Yeah, man.
And then a couple weeks later, it gets balanced.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
But yeah. So yeah, I kind of talked a whole bunch there. So Chad or Nick, if you guys have any other questions, I feel bad because I was just like,
I mean,
rapid
I think you
fire Gatling
you were
gun over here with questions.
you were like
It's the
taking them all
lights.
out of my mouth. So
Yeah, no,
The
it
lights
just
got 'em
felt like-
going.
yeah, exactly. It's funny. The light thing only happened because this one under my desk here kind of spazzes out from time to time when I turn it on, and it'll do this, and I can't like put it on just a
can't stop
regular. Yeah, so I like had to go under there and like unplug it, plug it back in, then it'll work.
it. Yeah.
But Nick's like, oh wait, that kind of like matches.
Yeah.
You're right. Let's do it on the other one.
He's gonna fix it, and I was like, no, you should really leave that. It helps that we are like smaller screens tonight because there's 4 of us. If you were
Right.
half the screen, people wouldn't watch.
Yeah. Yeah.
So true. But yeah, I was gonna share my screen again here, guys, with you, and just finish out the episode playing Pokemon Unite. Is that cool? Yeah.
Speaking of
jeez.
balance, is that game balanced?
Man,
surprisingly,
yeah.
it kind of is. Like there's and always in MOBAs, you're gonna have a character or two that's a little more powerful than the rest, but I would say it's pretty balanced in terms of MOBAs.
Yeah.
And the whole, like, I don't know if anyone's been following along with Unite and news with Unite and stuff, but it's caught a lot of flack about being pay to win. And I'm just going to make my official statement here. Showboys Mike is making his official Pokemon Unite pay to win statement. It's not really pay to win, guys.
Yeah, because you can earn it all in game. You know,
You can earn it all in game. And okay, so the factor here is you can buy Pokemon to play as with real money. That's not the issue, because every MOBA is like that.
MOBA
Except
is, yeah.
Dota gives you all the characters for free. League of Legends, you have to grind in-game currency or pay real money to unlock champions. Here's the Storm, same way. Pokemon Unite, same way. However, in Pokemon Unite, you can equip 3 items to your Pokemon that they hold for the battle that give you like stat upgrades, or you move faster, or you do more physical damage, etc., etc. You can level these items up using tickets that you get in game, and you can buy the tickets with real money to upgrade your items.
Yeah, so you could drop like $100 and max one out.
Exactly. You could spend $150, max out 3 items, and be at the
Please don't
highest
scream.
level for your held items before anyone else. Which it does give you an advantage, but I watched a video. There's actually a YouTuber out there, I think his name is Adrive, did a comparison side by side of a maxed out item versus a level 1 item. And for example, like one of the damage ones, the maxed out item knocked out the Pokemon in 4 hits more than the level 1 item. So it's like 4 auto attacks.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
like, yeah, if you're playing competitively at like Masters rank, like maybe 4 auto attacks could turn the tide of a battle, but like
Right.
Yeah.
4 auto attacks different for spending money versus grinding it out. Like,
There's nothing behind a paywall. It's all right.
No,
and it's a free game, so
it's a free game. I will say I was pretty shocked before playing it, being like, wait, you can spend money to upgrade like stats. That's alarming.
Right.
But it's not terrible. And I think it caught a lot of the community off guard because this game has attracted tons of players, many of which have never played MOBAs or are familiar with the free-to-play MOBA like game archetype.
Right. Or microtransactions in general.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So a lot of people immediately were like, oh my God, this game's pay to win. It's the worst thing ever. It's like, dude, just play. Like they have to make their money somehow.
Right.
But I would say I side with them. Like, do it another way. Don't do it with in-game stat. But they're so minor that it's not really noticeable. And like Underfunded said, and like BioCiv says here, you can grind out and max out your items just by playing the game. And so far, they've done a really good job of giving you like there's all these daily missions and stuff. I don't know how long they'll go on, if it's just like a launch thing, but like I've earned tons of tickets and upgraded like several items.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
level 15 or 17. And I just play like a handful of matches a day. I'm not playing like 8 hours a day or anything crazy.
Yeah.
But I didn't mean to hijack that. Well, I did mean to, and I wish I could do an entire episode on Pokemon Unite. But I'll spare you guys.
Well, you both play. I mean, it's a relevant topic.
Yeah, it really is.
BioCiv's in here, you know.
Yeah.
It's so fun, and it's great, Nick, because I think it's like
are there busted characters like ETC where I can do some really goofy shit and win us a game?
Yes,
like solo all the bosses.
Yeah, if you run crit,
knowing.
man, you can like 2-shot people.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's like Heroes in that it's a very simple MOBA to pick up and understand, but unlike HOTS, it does carry over some of the nuances of games like Dota and League of Legends, where like last hitting the minions matters. Whoever last hits the minion gets the bulk of the experience, and the players around it will also get experience, but not as much as the person who last hit it. They do have neutral camps or bosses, Nick, like you're talking about. 2 of them spawn throughout the match. One of them only spawns in the last 2 minutes. And most characters can solo the 2 that spawn throughout the match, like you're talking about with ETC. But Snorlax is like super busted with CC, so you probably love him. Just flopping around out there.
I love busted characters.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
But yeah,
some
and the
characters
match,
that no one knows about though too, are like very underutilized. Those are my favorite.
Yeah, he's a popular guy, but
yeah, boo.
Dude, the matches are short and sweet, 10 minutes long.
Damn.
Like, it's a cap time, so like you're not dumping 40 minutes into a match.
Ladies, you have to stop wrestling.
But yeah, it's real fun. If you have a Switch, you're looking for something to play, you've been interested in MOBAs or you love MOBAs, it's free. Pokemon Unite. It's amazing. Come play with me.
Yeah.
I've already made to veteran rank. I've been grinding out ranks, so I'm like 2 ranks below master. So I'm pretty much gonna go pro. So Nick, you're gonna have to, here and maybe by the next time we have a What's Playing, I might be pro. So you might have to, handle the podcast.
Chad and I got that.
Yeah, we got it.
Me and Underfunded are going pro. But yeah, so we, as always, when we have a guest on, we like to have a topic that kind of goes along with what the guest specializes in or whatever. And it being a What's Playing episode, we thought it'd be fun to talk about games that should have crossplay, but will never get crossplay, which honestly will pretty much be like any game. I think there's a select handful that have crossplay or cross progression, but yeah, it's an interesting topic. First off, I guess before we get really into that specifically, like, how do you guys feel the console wars are going? Like, is that still a thing, or like, are people kind of over it, except for like the diehard fanboys of each side, or like?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still a pretty big thing, to be honest. Especially with last generation. I mean, if you look at the numbers, Microsoft got slaughtered last generation. That's not my opinion. That's just the numbers. So
numbers on the board.
Yeah. So I think at least last generation, it definitely was a huge thing. I don't know that it's going to be as big of a thing this year or this generation, because Microsoft is kind of stepping up and getting some developers that they need, with Bethesda and other studios. Mm-hmm. So I think they're prepping for it still being a thing. Otherwise, they wouldn't be picking up these exclusive deals. And Microsoft or PlayStation's always going to have their exclusive library of games. So that's going to keep the console wars going forever, because, as nice as it would be to have everything cross-play and you can play Uncharted on Microsoft, it's just never going to happen. No matter how much they say it's going to happen, it's never going to happen. So the only thing you're going to get out of that is it's going to come to PC in like 4 years after it releases, which is a smart thing to do for PlayStation because
Right.
you're still going to have people buy PlayStation if they want to buy or they want to play the games right out the gate. And then you'll have the people that want to play them but refuse to get a console able to play them later down the road. So, yeah, I think it's still a pretty big thing.
Yeah. I will say I noticed that like Horizon Zero Dawn's on Steam, and I have it on my wish list. I'm waiting for it to go on like, you know, sub $10 sale. But
Yeah.
I was surprised when I saw that on there, honestly.
Yeah, it's weird. It's I don't know what it is. It's weird with the games that they choose to put on it because I don't think correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think you can get The Last of Us or any of the Uncharted games on PC, right?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Which is weird because you know that, and I guess it's not really weird because that's kind of become Sony's flagship series or flagship studio, really.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's not weird, but it's weird the ones that they pick to put on there and the ones they don't pick to put on there. So I don't know where the decision making is going on. There's like rumors going around that the next one's going to be Ghost of Tsushima because
I mean, yeah,
that
seems like a PC game.
Yeah. And I think some of the games would be really cool with mods. So I think that the main thing is for them to just do all of them. You know what I mean? Especially like Uncharted 4, which came out what seems like so long ago.
Yeah, the launch of the PS4. That was 7 years ago.
Yeah. So I don't know where they're picking the games. The rumor on Ghost of Tsushima came from them pulling the only on PlayStation logo off the case, I think, for maybe the PS5 one. It no longer says only on PlayStation. So I don't know if that is anything or they just forgot to put it on there or something stupid like that. But I think it's definitely a PC game. And like I said, I think some of these games would be really cool if you could mod them. So
yeah. So
I could take that stupid arrow quiver off. Sorry.
They're fixing that.
They are fixing. They are.
It's okay, Chad.
For sure, homie. So when we say cross play, I guess we should also define that. So like, by cross play, are we talking like Uncharted be able to be played on Xbox or PC, or are we talking like people who are playing what's a game?
Call of Duty.
Like Call of Duty.
Even though I think it has it.
I know Warzone does have a crossplay, but yeah, basically a game like Warzone where a person on PlayStation can play with a person on PC and a person on Xbox at the same time. So like, or are we talking both?
Yeah, I mean, I think we just do both. Why not?
Okay.
I mean, I think crossplay technically is like the Warzone thing where you can play with Xbox and PlayStation people, but I think it still goes back to the same kind of thing where if I was and Microsoft seems to be very gung-ho for crossplay in their games, and to me feel like they should be a little weary of it because there are a lot of people that buy a specific console because their friends have that specific console.
Yeah,
especially kids. Like, you know, if you don't have your own money, you're gonna buy either what your parents get you or what your friends have. So if that's removed, I think Microsoft hurts the most from that because, you know, Sony has a pretty long catalog of games that are only over there that you can play also. So if I can go over there and get Call of Duty and play with my buddy on Xbox, that it's a no-brainer, really.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the only reason that any game isn't crossplay, you know, is they want to use that game to drive up sales of their console because your friend or even just yourself wants to play the game bad enough, you'll go get the console to play it, which is frustrating, you know, because I feel like every game should be crossplay. You know, it shouldn't matter what console you're playing. Yeah, it's crazy. Especially if the game's released on multiple games, but then you can't play with people that are playing that game on a different console. That's the
thing that's very bizarre. And there are really, like Mike said, only a handful of games that do that. Now, Call of Duty, one of the biggest ones, does that. So
Yeah.
they're going that way. It really makes no sense for games that are released across all platforms to not do that. It makes no sense unless there's like some sort of, behind the scenes thing that prevents it from happening.
Yeah.
Right.
And
I mean,
then
I
the other issue is if you have crossplay with like PC graphically, if you're like, let's say, I don't think there is anything that you can do this, but let's say there's a crossplay game between PC and Switch. Well, obviously Switch is going to have, there might not even be bushes on the Switch that are in the PC that people are hiding in.
Yeah.
So I think that it creates a lot of problems. I get that.
I think that, like, for instances like that, you can just, can't they do something? I mean, I'm not a game developer, so maybe we should ask the game developer.
Yeah.
Well, it's like,
there's probably a way they could like cap settings, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
Like
for
that.
sure. And it goes back to like at Minecraft. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Minecraft, but it's
No.
supposed to be the same game on all the platforms, right? But really it's not. There's two versions of Minecraft. There's Minecraft PC and then there's Minecraft Bedrock. And it's not like Glow Home, it's the same game on Android and PC. I build it for Android and then I build it for PC.
Yeah.
It's over here singing.
Yeah.
And I don't know what she's singing about, but she's singing. And but
You need to make a Glow Home theme song and then
Right.
just have
Have her.
all the time.
but Minecraft, they literally have two fully different games that they're releasing on these different platforms, and it makes no sense to me. Why are you even making that much extra work for themselves?
Right.
you know?
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy.
That'd be the biggest issue is that it creates a lot more work than you need,
Yeah.
Yeah. I think just it's just down to financial gain.
Yeah, right.
The
Yeah.
games,
Right.
the big games on all platforms, just like you guys said earlier, like, oh, my friend has an Xbox, well, I want to play Battlefield with him, so I guess
Yeah.
I gotta get an Xbox.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. Let's start with you, Nick. I know you've probably got something sitting there. What's a game that you wish was cross-play or available to play on a different platform?
Well, I do have a general question because I think I'm just behind on the topic, but like, what games are crossplay these days? 'Cause I know like we're on the verge of like a bunch more being crossplay, but also there are ones that have been crossplay for some time now, especially like I think Fortnite is, and like you guys said, Call of Duty.
Yeah.
The only one I'm like actually aware of is Warzone because I played it with my brother who
Okay.
has a PlayStation. I played it on PC. But
Yeah, there's-
Chad probably knows.
there's like a decent list. A lot of them are indie games that you can play on it.
Mm-hmm.
Crossplay, but I think it's like Fortnite, Call of Duty, Rocket League. I know is another big one that's crossplay.
Makes sense.
And then I think there was like maybe like PUBG and No Man's Sky, which was a PlayStation like procedurally generated space game. I think that is crossplay now that they have multiplayer. So the list is getting bigger, but it's lacking the punch of AAA games. Really, it's mostly all indie games that are doing it.
Yeah. I know there was one game, DC Universe Online. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
is crossplay.
Yeah.
Go play, baby.
That was a fun game. I like that one. But yeah.
Yeah, Minecraft Bedrock is crossplay, but you can't crossplay with PC. So, like, I think it's Switch, mobile, Xbox, PlayStation. They can all crossplay. Everybody that's on the Bedrock version.
It's odd. It's odd that, and I don't know that like what games are crossplay, but then are missing something like that where it's not on PC. You can't crossplay on PC, or you can't crossplay on Switch. So,
Right.
yeah, it's a list that's getting bigger, but I don't think it's really catching any traction with any of the AAA studios or the major studios for whatever reason. Outside of Call of Duty, I think Battlefield, I believe they said was going to be crossplay. I don't know if that's true. We'll see, I guess, when it launches. But I think in order to compete with Call of Duty, they have to do it. So
Sorry, she's trying to get me to fix this play dress she has, and it's like so tangled, and I'm struggling with this thing. It's
Dress, man.
like I'm trying to wrestle an octopus over here.
Wrestling.
Oh, guys.
Oh, Biosiv says
Mortal
says,
Kombat, yeah.
I played Mortal Kombat crossplay.
Nice.
But yeah, so I don't know. Does that answer your question, Nick?
Yeah, I think so. I still know how widespread it was already versus how it's going to get.
Mhm.
But I think we're getting there. But I wish this is kind of like I wish it was on multiple platforms, but also it was cross-play, but like Gears of War, just
Mhm.
because I played that in the like my 360 days and
There we go.
absolutely
Perfect.
loved it. But I'm more of a PlayStation person, so I
Right,
wish
right.
I could play Gears of War. And then at that rate, I want to play Gears of War with my friends who
Yeah.
obviously have Xboxes. So like,
Yeah,
that's a
right.
big one for me. And the multiplayer, and that's fun. All the different modes. I mean, it's, just like any other kind of shoot 'em kind of multiplayer, but it's got its own flavor.
Yeah. Jordan chimes in and says Mike looks like he's at a rave.
Yep.
Mike is
Who
at a
says
rave.
I'm not?
There you go.
Just raving down here in the basement. Yeah.
So I think for like I would like to see. I never really got into Gears of War. I don't know why. I played them. I just, they're okay.
Right.
I think at the time Halo was my jam on Xbox, so it was
Sure.
like not Halo when I was playing it. You know what I mean? And it had that like, we say I've said on the show before that I went through like a Mike phase where I played only multiplayer games, but then I got really addicted to those games. So it was like when I'm playing Halo, it's not Call of Duty 4, and when I'm playing Call of Duty 4, it's like not Halo. And then anything else I tried to sneak in there was just not working for me. Thankfully, I got out of that, hole
You're
that I was in.
completely not in that space anymore. It's
Not
crazy.
even remotely. Yeah.
I'm gonna pull you into Battlefield though.
You're
really
going,
hard.
you're probably going to, and that's going to be the first multiplayer game I've literally played in like maybe
same.
7, 8 years. So
Yeah, I agree.
Chad's a reformed man these days.
Yep, we're gonna dominate though, and we're just gonna stream it all the time. That's all that's gonna happen.
yeah,
Mike's
Make
got
it
to do the
happen.
show
Let's
by
go.
himself.
yeah.
Yeah, as long as when I'm pro and Unite, you do the show. Like we'll trade. When
Different
you guys
seasons,
go cry,
hopefully.
yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have to set up, make sure the seasons are. Sorry, I have a gnat flying around me. Why is there gnats?
You're
in
at a
my
rave.
basement?
You're at a slow motion
Yeah.
Right.
rave.
I have been watching a lot of Letterkenny, so I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to get my skin on over here. Anyways, yeah. So, Gears of War is your pick, huh?
That in that direction, and I would say this one's kind of cheating because there is no like multiplayer element in it, but it needs one, and if there is one, it needs to be crossplay, and that would be Horizon Zero Dawn. I think there's a missed opportunity in there for some insane multiplayer with what's in that game, like just giant mech dinosaurs, and the boss fights are essentially already arena style, so I think there's a lot of opportunity for that game to have multiplayer, and if they
definitely.
do, crossplay.
Yeah. It's a little odd that game does not have, because there are weirder games that have multiplayer.
Yeah.
And multiplayer that did really well, and Ghost of Tsushima is one of them with their Legends mode, which did really, really well. So, yeah, it's a little odd that like a PvE multiplayer would be amazing in that game. If you have like these huge bosses that you need to take down.
I forget which. It's like Assassin's Creed Revelations, I think. Like right after 2 had multiplayer, and that's years and years and years ago. And it was weird for it to have multiplayer because it didn't need it, but it was cool.
Right.
But like you said, weirder things have had it. So Horizon Zero Dawn, they could do like a lot of cool things. I'm almost thinking like not probably Monster Hunter, but Evolve kind of style. Like something crazy like that. Like I want to play as like the T-Rex mech.
Yeah.
And then just like fight off the team.
Other players,
it could be done.
Dude, Evolve was so fun. That game was...
Evolve was good. Yeah.
Did that have crossplay?
I'm not sure.
I kind of feel like that might have been. I'll look it up, but I kind of feel like that was like maybe one of the first games that ever had crossplay. I might be making that up entirely in my head, but
hey, just say it confidently, and we'll believe you.
Yeah, right. So yeah, I think it'd be really cool to have. The problem I have with multiplayer in single player games is taking away resources for these single player games and putting them on multiplayer. What I do appreciate, though, however, is when it's done after release. And I know a lot of people hate that, but Tsushima is a perfect example. It came out like maybe 6 months after the game. Probably not that long, maybe a couple months after the game launched. So they were probably working on it simultaneously. But just get your single player game out.
Yeah.
And then even Grand Theft Auto did the same thing. Grand Theft Auto 5. They had an awesome single player, and then they came out and their online is amazing. So I think that's the way to do it, because there are some games that do both at the same time and they launch and neither are really that good. You know what I mean?
And I'm not like mad they don't have it in Horizon, because I'm happy they don't, because like you said, it's 100% focus on one, really smooth and good gameplay, two, a really cool story that's really pretty unique.
Right.
So they made a good single player game without the distraction of multiplayer. So not knocking it, but I think it could be done and it would be sweet.
Yeah. Biosiv says, I wish Spider-Man was cross-platform.
Yeah. It's a heck of a game, man. You're missing. You should just go pick up a PlayStation. Speaking
of,
you took it right out of my
boys.
You took it right out of my mouth. Yeah. Speaking
Nick,
of,
what happened?
Well, me and Biosiv went on a field trip.
A field trip.
and I got myself a PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
I'm very, very excited about it.
Right now what I just did. But
I didn't buy any games. So really I just like focus on just moving all my 4 stuff over and understanding how that worked. But right now it's just like a bloated media player, which is fine.
Yeah.
It's a very nice media player. But I did like boot up Grand Theft Auto, which even the PS4 version of Grand Theft Auto, I can tell it's on a PS5. It's just smoother. And everything's just crystal. Like there's no weird loading elements and stuff like that. And no shuddering. So that was cool. I think I went into Origins. Couldn't really tell much in Origins. Origins has a really, to me, that game is pretty sound and solid. So it's about as optimized as it could be on the PS4. So but yeah, that's all for the sake of really Battlefield. And I guess maybe Spider-Man, people like this game.
Yeah, you really should get, definitely, because that's one of the few games that got like a dedicated PS5 upgrade. And I think at the time, it only came with Miles Morales as like maybe a pre-order bonus, maybe, or something like that. But
so I know Miles Morales, Spider-Man. I need the re-release of Ghost of Tsushima.
Yes, you need that, because I'm going to be playing that, and we need to discuss it, because definitely that comes out the 20th.
Oh, so exciting. That might be my first PS5 game.
Yeah, and it's going to be a heck of one, man, because it really, even the PS4 game got like a major boost. And I think it depends on like if the game has like an uncapped frame rate, those games do really well on the PS5, obviously. If it's capped at 30, then it's just capped at 30 and you get faster load times. But a lot of PS4 games look amazing on the PS5. So, while you're waiting for Horizon Zero Dawn 2, which I think got delayed to 2022, along with a lot of games that are coming out in 2022. I think the new God of War is coming out. Yeah, right. But Battlefield's the main one that you got the PS5 for. And I told you might as well just get one when you find one, because you're never going to find one, but you did. So
that was the urgency. Yeah. Biosiv, he had the plug on that.
What a guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
A round of applause for Biosiv.
Definitely. Did you get the disc version or the digital only? Disc, nice.
Disc, yeah, because I have PS4 disc, and I have discs. I don't know if I'm gonna buy anymore.
It's funny you say that, because I've always been a disc guy.
Right.
But it's just like getting to the point where it's so much easier to just download it the night before, and then right at midnight or whatever time they release it, I can play it, instead of like coming back and downloading the disc and it's also like installing. And then if I like want to switch games, I have to, this is going to sound totally lame and lazy, but I have to like get up off the couch and switch the disc. Like it's like so 1998, but I liked that for a long time. And if if I'm going to pay $60 to $70 for a game, if I'm going to pay the same price, I kind of want a disc. If it's cheaper, I mean, you could squash physical games immediately by making them $10 cheaper, if you ask me. If that or $5 cheaper, people would be all over it.
But what I ran into at the PS4 and like obviously the PlayStation Store was you could find some pretty awesome deals online for the download only, and that's really how I got most of my like download only ones, because that was the cheaper spot to grab them, and it's obviously a lot easier. But the whole disc thing, now it's either I put a disc in and like I'm committed to this game, like this is the game I'm playing,
because I'm not getting back up and changing that.
But in the other direction, it deters me from playing other games I should be playing. So I'm like, I gotta put another disc in.
Right.
It's gonna be like when our kids are like, you guys, wait, you had to switch discs? It's same thing when,
we might already be there.
You guys didn't have remotes for your TVs? What?
Man,
you had to get up and change the channel?
I mean, you don't just talk to everything.
I met somebody who literally didn't believe me that you could burn CDs. They were like, what do you even mean?
On fire.
I literally I produced some blank CDs. I was like, these you could put any song you want on here right now.
Dude, that's great. Biosiv says, I only buy disc if it's so good I need a hard copy, making me technically buy 2 copies.
I mean, it's not a bad way to do it.
I'm a physical like media guy. Much like Chad. I have it's hard to see because my camera makes it looks like the wall is 100 feet away from me, but it's really not. But in between all my pops, I have like a Blu-ray DVD collection. Which I just buy Blu-rays because I like the boxes and the art for movies or shows that I really, really like. I've not watched any of those from the shelf because I've already seen them.
Right. And that's the thing, like, especially now, like I used to do the same thing. DVD, I have a huge DVD collection. Haven't opened one of them in like 5 years. and it's annoying when you buy them now, especially if you buy a Blu-ray and it doesn't have like a digital copy to put on my iPad, which is practically where I watch all my movies. It's like, what are we doing? Like, why?
Low key, shout out to PM Fusion if he's listening. I don't know if he is, but if you are, let me know, bro. He works at the Exchange, which is one of my favorite local what did we call it, Nick? Hobby shops?
Essentially it's like a digital, it's a gaming media hobby shop.
That's where I go there and buy all my Blu-rays. Usually can find some pretty good deals.
Not that one, but that's where I got my PS5.
Yeah,
they put it in a black trash bag, and that's how I carried it out, because I guess they don't want people jumping me and like murdering me for my.
Well, nice to be honest, they'd probably struggle to jump you with that giant box. I mean, literally, that's it. Like, I'm underestimating how big this thing is.
That's actually why Biosiv went with you to
help you carry it
to your car.
Yeah, I know for sure.
I mean, I told you when I got mine, I was just shy of struggling to get it into my car. Like, that's how big the box. Like, it's like absurd how big it is. Yeah.
Man. I had no idea.
Oh yeah, it's not like, high dollar PC big, but it's getting there, and it rapidly like the PS6 is probably going to be that size.
I guess as big as your car.
Yeah.
Oh, don't say PlayStation 6. You're gonna make me sad.
That's awesome.
But you can look in the vents and you can see like the hardware, which is cool.
Yeah.
That thing's ready to rip.
Meanwhile, I just play this thing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
all the time.
Yeah.
I just like, gotta
play a
match.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I'm kind of itching to play a game on the Switch. I feel like I haven't touched my Switch since Breath of the Wild. So I think I'm gonna play Ghost of Tsushima obviously when it comes out, and then I've never played any again for the third time, but I have to. and I kind of thought
again.
I thought about this to myself, like, I kind of want to buy it at full price too, because they specifically changed something that I asked for and then called me out for it.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like that's the right thing to do. So I'm probably going to buy it at full price.
Are you sure
Would they
you
change?
asked?
So yeah. So in the game, I don't know. Have you played Ghost of Tsushima?
No, but
Okay.
I've seen a couple videos of it.
So obviously you play as a samurai, and in the game you have an arrow quiver that sits on your belt. Okay. And you can remove everything from your back, the bow, everything else off of you, except for this arrow quiver. I don't know if it's like a glitch or they meant to keep it, like we talked earlier, it might be doing something else and it had to stay there. But it's like the biggest eyesore in the world. In a absolutely beautiful game, it's just this hideous thing sitting on your back. So, and I've told this story on here again, but I'm just going to tell it again because I think it's hilarious. So I, being the obnoxious idiot that I am, made a Twitter account, which is one of the only ways to contact Sucker Punch, who makes the game. And every day for 2 months, I told them in various ways that we would like the option to remove the arrow quiver.
Every day
and I
for
mean,
2 months.
yeah, I mean, I took in-game photos, like, look how cool this outfit would look without the arrow quiver. I told Nick, like, 13 Assassins, the movie, which is a samurai movie, there's a moment in there where they take their arrow quivers off after they're done shooting the arrows. So I found a short GIF of that and sent that to him. And then eventually the account got banned because I was being literally every day for 2 months. So they they don't ever the game goes on to pass its year. They don't ever do anything with it. So I'm like just hopeless at this point. And every time I play it, it's just like I can't get it out of my head. So they put out the PS5 upgrade, and it's going to have like a big DLC. And in the page they put on their website, it says for the guy on Twitter who asks all the time for the option to remove the quiver, we're adding that too. Now,
That's amazing.
Now, I don't want to say 100% that it was me. I'm sure there were other people that were doing it, but I was, it might have been me.
It was you.
I think it probably was me. So, but that's cool because, like, even though I'm sure that they maybe hate me because I was so obnoxious about it, they fixed it, and now I feel like I need to be like, sweet. You listen to me. Here's $70 more, whatever the PS5 one's gonna be.
I'm sure they loved it. It was just somebody somewhere reported it for spam, and so you got banned.
Right.
I'm sure they loved it, especially because they changed it, right? So somebody somewhere just commiserated. They were like, I hate it too, and I can't figure out how to make it go away.
So there was always they always had the option to remove the arrows out of the quiver. And that would make it like, hi.
Thank you.
So you could remove all the arrows, and then you would just have the quiver instead of having the arrows on your back.
Nice.
So, even in their their trailer videos for the game, they have the empty quiver on the back. So it's even maybe bugging them, and nobody's it was driving me. So even though I beat the game 2 or 3 times, this PS5 version is going to be the first one that I'm going to actually enjoy because I can focus away from that stupid quiver.
Chad's like, look at this beautiful game you made that I love so much, but it sucks because it has a quiver.
It does. It's just like I couldn't get it out of my head. It was driving me nuts.
Yeah. Did it update? Did it update in the quiver how many arrows you had?
It did, yeah.
Visibly?
Yeah, visibly, yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's super cool. I mean, the whole quiver thing is cool. I just want the option to not have it sometimes because
I bet it was because it was tied in.
Something else. That's what I figured. Yeah. It was either that or it was supposed to remove with the bow because it sits on the bow when you have the bow on your back, and it just didn't for whatever reason, and they just left it that way. Yeah. So. And I sent a bunch of, because the game is absolutely stunningly beautiful. And I sent a bunch of screenshots to Nick and Mike to show them how amazing. And you can see in that I purposely avoid taking pictures of the arrow quiver because it just ruins everything for me.
It's amazing.
That's hilarious. So, Mr. Scientist, or I don't know. What do you want me to call you?
Mr. Underfunded.
It doesn't even matter. Yeah. In the Discord chat, they usually just call me Underfunded, so I don't have to type as much, but it really doesn't even matter.
Yeah. We'll go with that. Underfunded. Is there a particular game in your mind that you wish was cross-play, either in terms of like being able to play the same game with someone on Xbox or PC or PlayStation, or a game that is, exclusive to one console that you wish you could play on another?
Right. I mean, really, I guess the only one, because I'm not aware of many, that just hard, for sure could say they are or are not, besides the ones we already talked about. But Minecraft really is bugs me a lot, because it's a completely different game. There's UI differences. You can look up all sorts of videos, people complaining about small differences, and the reason is it's not. They didn't set out to do it on purpose. It's because they have teams of people making it for these platforms, and they have other teams working on the PC platform, and they all have the same goal, but they get there in different ways, right?
No
And
two coders code the same.
exactly, yeah, and I just don't understand why they would even do that to themselves. Why aren't they all working on just one game and then uploading that to all of the platforms that they want to be on? It blows my mind. It really does, and it's frustrating because there's a lot of features on PC that are not on console.
Would you say the PC version is the elite version?
Well, I played the Bedrock version on pretty much everything besides, PC, I guess. The only thing it's not on. But I guess, yeah, I'm slightly jealous of some of the features on PC. So, yeah, I would have to say it's better. But
Nice.
But there's not
as it should be. I mean,
right.
PC master race.
It's not anything huge, but there's a lot of really small things, like quality of life things. Like I can't even remember what button it is. It's like F3 or something they could push on PC, and it gives them a whole bunch of stats about just everything going on with the player at that moment, like what biome they're in, their coordinates, and just a whole bunch of information. And on Bedrock, all that we have is in the settings you can turn on or off coordinates. You can toggle them. And that's all the information you have, and so anything else is guesswork. Like,
man,
there are things that only happen in certain biomes, and so on Bedrock, you're not 100% sure that you're in that biome. You have to go by what it looks like and previous knowledge. Where in PC, they can just push a button and be like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'm in the savannah."
Right. Yeah, right.
Cool.
That reminds me of in Civ. Of course, I'm going to make a Civ comment, but they're under the portrait avatars for all the players in the game. There's just a setting deep in the menu that just lets you toggle on all the stats for every empire, like all the different yields, and so it kind of helps you measure, and your score. It helps you measure where you're at in the game comparatively to everyone else.
Nice.
And a lot of times people are like, what mod is that? Or, how did you do that? It's like, are you cheating or what are you doing? It's like, no, it's just a setting. Like everyone always has to kind of explain it, but it's just a nuanced setting. And I don't think it's on because you can play Civ on mobile and stuff, not mobile, but the iPad and things like that. And it's not a thing in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's always odd when the same game have different features like that. And before I got on my tirade about that stupid arrow quiver, I was going to say after Ghost of Tsushima, I'm gonna pick up Dragon Quest 11. I've never played any of the Dragon Quest games.
Oh yeah.
And I was looking to give my Switch some love, and I thought I was gonna play it on there, but so they released a definitive edition of Dragon Quest 11. They added in all this awesome stuff, and then downgraded the graphics for whatever reason. So it's not as
nice. Makes sense.
Clear, or I don't know how to really say it. It just looks jaggedy. Yeah. So it's weird that the original game is beautiful, and then the definitive edition that adds in everything that everybody wanted and was complaining about downgrades the graphics.
Yeah.
That almost sounds like they enhanced it, sharpened it, but didn't add a bloom or a anti-assailing type of slider to it. I don't know. Because I've seen games where they're like, hey, we've updated to run on the newer resolution monitors and stuff, but while doing that, it like broke the smoothness of the graphics at
Right.
the same time.
I thought it was something to do with like moving up to the new version of whatever engine they were using, and it somehow made it look worse. But I gotta be honest, I'm gonna probably play it on Switch, and it's not gonna look that great either way on Switch. So I don't know that I'm really gonna care. But
It'll
it
be
just-
less. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, go ahead. What?
No, I was just gonna say it'll be less of a problem as time goes on. I mean, it would have been already, but like Unreal Engine just came out this new technology for Unreal Engine 5, and once it's finished, it's gonna be a game changer, man. There's Nanite and Lumen technology being added, and Nanite literally lets you use billions of polygons without it costing anything extra on performance.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so like like old games, like everybody makes fun of the old like Lara Croft Tomb Raiders, how blocky she was and stuff. That's because they could only afford that many points to
right.
make the shape. You know what I mean? Because the data of those points moving had to be recorded. But now with Nanite, it's like they've ran tests and it's gone up to like hundreds of billions of polygons with zero lag. And then Lumen is a new way that they calculate light bounces. And so the way that they get reflections and shadows in game is they cast a ray, like a real ray of light, and they calculate every bounce it makes. And you can change a slider to put a cap on how many it can do to save performance. So you can have a game with one light bounce max, or you can have 10 and get like refraction and stuff. And now with Lumen, I don't even remember how they pulled it off, but you can have like essentially infinite number of light bounces with zero cost and performance, and it's going to be just standard built into Unreal Engine 5, and it's going to be like soon. Like it's not like a far away technology. They just released a beta 2 for Unreal Engine 5, so it'll be real soon.
The lighting advancements in the past like 5 years have really kind of taken things a whole nother level, and it's such like an efficient enhancement, because we're kind of past the point of, we've hit that exponential curve as far as like adding polygons, right? And how many points, like everything can only be so smooth. Like we get it. We can make things really photorealistic, but the lighting just adds it a whole new line of dimension on it.
Oh yeah. It
Like,
totally changes it.
like Cyberpunk's lighting.
Yeah. So and I hate to bring it back up, but Tsushima's lighting is freaking beautiful. So I'm sorry.
It is.
It's
Such a
really
beautiful
odd.
game.
It's really odd because I'm not even playing it right now. I don't know why I'm talking about it so much. You just got me all worked up about the quiver. So yeah, the lighting in it is just like incredible, and it seemed like the big like decision that gamers were going to have to make as far as performance for this new generation was if you wanted ray tracing. Okay.
Mhm.
Or if you want 60 FPS, which the first couple games came out, and really like ray tracing is great. It makes the games, especially Spider-Man, look amazing because you're in New York City, but you don't realize like how amazing 60 FPS is until you go forward and then back to 30, and it just like screws with your eyes so much. So I hope that they by at least the middle of this generation figure out how to do both of those at the same time. And I think Spider-Man added in a mode that allows you to do both at the same time, but only at like 1080 or something like that. But yeah, the lighting is something that is like really increased in the past like 4 years, where some of these games like The Witcher 3 was one that was like one of the first that just had amazing sunsets in that game, like absolutely incredible. So you can add a lot to a game by just the lighting, which is absurd. But
I think it'll definitely. Sorry, go ahead, Nick.
No, I was gonna say a Showboy's favorite, Valheim. Right, we're talking like low textures, but the lighting like just sets that game off for being a low resource game in terms of the quality of the textures. And then even other games where all they've done was add new lighting effects, where you played on a newer system, and it just out the gate you get an enhancement in how it looks.
The like you guys have kind of already alluded to, like the next jump in realism and whatever like graphical updates, definitely lighting, and like a thing that I think often gets pushed to the back but really adds the immersion, like jacks it up, is sound design.
Yeah.
So like a game like New World, which also has really good lighting and is a pretty stunning game visually. Their sound design is so good. Like
Yeah.
the sound of chopping a tree in that game is seriously
If you
one of
can't
the
chop
most satisfying.
trees, forget about it.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's one of the most satisfying sounds I think I've heard in a game. And picking, mining your iron or whatever, like again,
Is that
it's
what they
like
call it?
yeah, that was probably not a great
Yeah,
mining motion.
Not the best motion you could have made for that. Chalk that up to our
Yes.
cancel list.
Exactly. It's getting longer and longer.
It is.
as
This
time
video
goes
is
on.
not made for kids.
Yeah.
You add in the hyper realistic lighting, and then you add like hyper realistic sound design, like a game like New World. Like, yeah, it's gonna be less about just being like pretty to look at and more like immersion based, like really sucking you in with all of your senses aside from just your eyeballs. I mean, even the light
Right.
is your eyeballs, but like, getting the sound, and then like the PlayStation controller, like you guys
Yeah, I was
said,
just
with
going to
the
talk about.
sensitive triggers.
Yeah, I
like,
was just going to talk about that.
you
That to me is like the biggest surprise from this generation is that controller, man. I think it's amazing, especially in games like Spider-Man where you can feel the tension on the web in the trigger.
dude.
Oh, that's crazy.
And they're adding that in for Tsushima, so you're going to be able to feel the bow like trigger and stuff. So
dude, that's cool.
you really, Nick, you got to get a PS5 game to kind of get that stuff.
Yeah.
And there's a couple out there, and the one that I reviewed, Returnal, which was I thought be an awful implementation of this, but it was
Ari,
basically
no.
it was
Put your shirt
basically
back
that
on.
you it was basically
We'll just pop
It
him
was-
off the screen for a second.
so anyway, it was basically if you half squeeze the trigger, that would be aiming down sights in the game, and then a full pull of the trigger would bring up your alternate fire. So it was like a different way to fire the gun. I was like,
Yeah.
dude, that sounds so annoying because I'm always going to accidentally pull it all the way and bring up my alternate. Well, the way they did it in the game, they made it literally feel like two buttons there.
Yeah.
It was like a legit click that you had to push in to get that alternate. So it's just stuff like that. And then if you play just a normal game, it's just a smooth trigger. So it's weird how much they can implement. It adds like a different button there that you can add in, and it's all based on the tension.
Yeah, and I was just happy that, I mean, it's a little thing, but I loved it. And we talked about this on another episode, Chad, with like the sound, how the sound comes out of the controller in GTA 5 for like your phone or like the cop sirens. I was just happy to see that the controller had an upgraded version of all that hardware, because even that stuff sounds better. Now. It's just like clearer. It doesn't sound like a little mic in a controller anymore. Like it sounds like it should. Little things like that go such a long way.
It is, especially like the controller thing. You wouldn't even think about that. Like if we were talking about this 2 years ago, I would have never even thought about putting vibrate in a trigger and how much that could add to the game. But
yeah. So Chad, what's your pick for crossplay?
So yeah, I have to try and decide which way I want to go with this.
Okay.
I think that
while you're
yeah, go
thinking?
ahead because go ahead.
Obvious answer right now is Pokemon Unite. It's only going to be released on Switch and mobile. Do you know, Underfunded, if it's going to be crossplay between Switch and mobile?
I'm not sure. I was seeing on their Twitter, though, that they plan to put it on all platforms that they can, like literally all of them. It's just, but it's a matter of licensing issues, I'm sure, and where they can get it to go. But yeah,
I would love to just play that on PC.
yeah, exactly.
Just play
same.
Unite on PC. That would be
Yeah,
glorious.
if I remember right, it was PC and mobile that they're doing first. I can check super quick.
I know mobile for sure is the one that's coming in September.
Right.
But if they made a PC version, I would literally like pee myself in excitement.
I'm gonna buy Chad some more time here and ask a question that I always wonder about, and I'm gonna say it because
Sure,
you
I'd have to
reminded
look
me as far as like MOBAs go and
Mhm.
crossplay, and I think the same thing about first-person shooters. So like for MOBAs and first-person shooters, wouldn't you think that one or the other type of console where you're playing it has an advantage? Like shooters, wouldn't the PC have the advantage, and then
Yeah.
MOBAs wouldn't also the PC have the advantage over the handheld players? Like I don't know, or one
I
way
don't
or
really
the
think
other.
so.
Though the way, okay, so for first person shooters, I would say definitely yes, because of
Right.
having the twitch reactions with your mouse and keyboard and being able to have more pinpoint accuracy. MOBAs, maybe. The way Unite's set up, it actually feels really good with a controller, which I play a lot of times on a TV with a controller. But I probably play 60% of the time with the controller, and then the other 40% of the time in handheld mode. And both
Yeah.
modes feel fine, work fine, like not much of a difference. But it's set up to where you only have like 3 moves in this game, as opposed to like 4 in a regular MOBA. So it fits the controller button mapping.
I feel like I would like
Fine.
a MOBA on a controller.
Yeah, it's not bad. The only thing is they do a weird like auto targeting thing. Like
Yeah.
you can manually aim your skill shots if you want, but also if you don't want to, it'll just lock on like the closest target to you, enemy player. And they have an option you can turn on to where it adds like a target priority wheel to the side, and you can like choose what target you want the auto lock to prioritize and your basic attacks to prioritize. But the other thing is being able to choose what like wild Pokemon you want to attack, basic attack, when there's 2 standing next to each other. There's options where you can set up where your A button will, when you're by a wild Pokemon and an enemy Pokemon, your A button will attack the enemy and your B button will attack the wild Pokemon, which is cool. But if there's 2 wild Pokemon next to each other, it'll just pick one to attack. And I wish that I could choose which one I want to attack. So if they kept that controller scheme with Unite and then added the ported to PC and had crossplay, you could like with a mouse you could pick probably what like if it's like any
Right.
other MOBA, you can
The
click
click.
on whatever you want to attack,
Yeah.
right? So I don't know. They would have to do something probably if they wanted to crossplay, but I don't know if that answered your question.
I think it does. I think Underfunded. Did you have a different opinion there? I think you said you don't
Yeah,
think it affects.
I don't think it really gives too much of an advantage. I think it comes down to where the player has skill. Like I don't think if you took somebody who didn't know how to play the game or any games and you let them play on both, that they would be better on PC because it was more accurate. I think you could get the same movements with a controller as you can on PC. Because I used to play shooters on a PC a lot, and I switched to consoles, and I don't think it was worse. You know what I mean? I felt like
I like shooters
the
on
same.
console better.
Yeah, I do too. Like I like the like moving with one stick and aiming with the other stick. I think it feels a lot more natural than like
Right.
WASD and a mouse. But I totally started that way, and I don't think it was a benefit.
Yeah. I think if you look at like the top people that are streaming Call of Duty, it doesn't seem like any of them are using mouse and keyboard.
Right.
So it seems like it's maybe not the advantage that most people think it is.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good opinion there, because it's really, when you hear most people say, the opinion is that it's better on PC, but no, the evidence isn't there to support that with all the streamers using controllers. So even if they're on PC, they're using a controller. So
sounds like a spicy topic for another episode.
It does.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yes.
Right.
Or looking at you guys, B Hero, controller
debate,
or keyboard and mouse. You're welcome. I want all royalties for that. Yeah, so the obvious answer for me is Unite, but then when you said Valheim, Nick, that made me think how cool that would be to play with people on console. If they, do they even have a console version of Valheim? No,
Nah, man.
They should make one
so.
and then let you play with them. That would be so cool. We need more. Basically, we just need more workers for the canal. So if they're on mobile, I don't care. PlayStation, Xbox, whatever, Switch. We just need people working the canal.
There's still a canal there that needs built. It's mostly built. It'll never be finished, Mike. I don't know why you think it has some sort of like definitive like end.
Yeah,
because we started these towers and we need to finish the towers.
Sorry, they're being super loud, so I'm just gonna stay muted a second.
Oh,
okay.
Very good. We're waiting on Chad for his pick.
Yeah, I mean, I can still talk about the canal if you need time.
No,
I've got a lot of thoughts.
Here's the issue that I'm having. I don't play multiplayer games, so I don't really care about any of them being crossplay. So that's the issue I have. So I think I'm going to go with the other definition of crossplay, which is cross console, if you will.
Yes.
And I think that
platform,
cross-platform, yes. Sorry. What PlayStation really lacks is like a really good racing game or a series of racing games. So Forza for me has always been like, if I had an Xbox, I'd be playing it 100%. It's not enough to buy an Xbox for me. You know, I just every now and then get an itch to play a good racing game. So that's probably going to be my pick just because I don't play multiplayer games. So if they're all crossplay, I don't really care. And if none of them are, I don't really care either. So
just racing Grand Theft Auto. Chad.
Yeah. I mean, here's what I hope for the new Grand Theft Auto. If we're going to go down that rabbit hole real quick, is that and it has a Forza game. Yeah, and that it has a little. I mean, it Grand Theft Auto 5 has some cool racing mini games in it. Even in the single player, like the street racing stuff is really cool. So, but the cars that they added in online are like vastly superior. Oh, yeah. So, you know, I think that for me, there's just the depth that Forza has and Forza Horizon, which is kind of like their street racing
game. That game was fun.
Yeah, I mean, I liked. I can't remember which one I played, 2 or 3 that I played. I really liked it.
Forza Horizon is like the counter to my, like, when it comes to racing, also you're either playing like Gran Turismo or you're playing like Forza Horizon in my brain, because like either one's open world, just like driving racing, or you're kind of like the more technical,
right, where you have a line that you have to follow and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I more get engrossed with the street racing stuff just because I grew up in the Fast and the Furious generation, so those are the games that always pull me in. And and Need for Speed is just not doing it for me anymore. It did really well with Heat. I loved Heat, but I think they got pulled. It's really weird. They were working on another Need for Speed, and I think they got pulled off to work on Battlefield. Like the entire team got so that's it. One of two things: either that game is a wreck, and they're like, here, never mind. Okay, just go work on this, or Battlefield is a wreck, and they need more people. Which I hope it's not. Yeah, I hope it's.
I might pay full price for that, and I try not to pay full price for games anymore. After Andromeda bit me.
Yeah, right. Oh man,
Chad,
that's a hard bite there. Go ahead, Mike.
Guy Biosiv has some news for you.
Okay.
You don't need an Xbox for Forza. It's on Game Pass. You can play on your PC.
Yeah, no, I know.
He doesn't play PC.
I don't play PC though, really. Although I will say that I did put a PS2 emulator on and I was playing Persona 3 on it. So it's been kind of a PC week here for me. So
nice. Shoot, dude, I remember what didn't they do? They did a new Forza thing in E3, right, this year?
Yeah, it was it looks beautiful, dude, man. Forza Horizon 5, I think it is. It looks absolutely incredible.
I watched that entire thing and I was like, oh god, if I had an Xbox, I'd totally play this.
Like I'm sure maybe for some people that's the game that sells them on the console, but it's never gonna be that for me. So I just want it on the console I want to play it on. So
No, that makes sense. Makes total sense. So, yeah, and the sad thing is, I don't think really. I mean, I think probably. Well, no, not the Minecraft option because they're actually two different games. What'd you pick, Nick? You picked Gears of War.
Gears of War. And,
Yeah, so pretty
Zero
much
Dawn.
everything we picked, with the exception of possibly Valheim if they ever release it on consoles. No chance that any of these will
Never.
be crossplay ever.
Never.
Yeah.
You know, Nintendo's not going to give up any sort of rights to anything Pokemon related.
Well, I kind of that's true for Nintendo because they're stubborn for sure. But
Mario
I
on the
kinda-
Xbox.
Yeah, that would be catastrophic for PlayStation if that happened. Like that,
Yeah.
they might go out of business immediately if that happens. So let's hope. And they have like in totally different episode we can do. They have a really weird history PlayStation and Nintendo. The original PlayStation 1 was supposed to be an attachment for the NES or SNES or something. So
That's
it's
crazy.
it's a really interesting story they have. They don't like each other. I don't know if that carried over to now.
Dang, we
But
should dive into some.
It's a very interesting
gaming
story.
history stuff.
Yeah, that's definitely, we need to chalk that up as a future topic. But I thought that maybe Sony was kind of reaching out the hand when they put MLB on Xbox, which is and it's weird because if you fire it up on Xbox, it literally says Sony San
Ladies.
Diego, and it's like it's really odd to see. So I thought that maybe Microsoft would give one of their lesser popular titles like Forza or something like that over, but we'll see.
Bunch of scumbags over there. They're not going to do anything.
Yeah, I don't think they will, but
Sorry to any of you Xbox lovers. Biosiv. It's not a reflection on the player base. Just we're not fans of Microsoft. Anyways, thanks. I think it's probably, unless you guys have any final words here about the topic or glow home or anything, it's probably coming up on time to wrap up the episode tonight.
We
Any
just have
last
to
words?
ask
No?
Underfunded what he's been playing
Oh yeah.
lately.
That's it, dude. I've been slacking on our interviews. We had a tradition with our first several interviews where, like, if it was a What's Watching episode, we're like, "Hey, before we leave, what have you been watching lately?" Or if it's a What's Playing, "Hey, what have you been playing lately?" But
Nice.
I've totally over my head. I've been a bad host.
you often forget that topic.
Yeah.
That's small, even
I'm
when
sorry.
it's just us.
Yeah, but hey, it's Nick. Nick is there to have my back, doing his duties over there. So yeah, I already know the answer, but tell the lovely people in chat and Nick, what have you been playing lately, bro?
Yeah, for sure I've been playing Pokemon Unite, trying to catch Mike for every match I can. And I've also been playing, I was just telling Mike earlier, there's this amazing indie game called Muck, M-U-C-K, and it's by a amazing indie developer named Danny, a solo developer. It's kind of like Minecraft in the sense that you gather resources to make things, but it's a lot different. It's more about the combat of it. Dude updates it really often. It's free to play. It's on Steam. It's a lot of fun, and it's multiplayer. So like me, you, everybody, we could all play together sometime. It's pretty fun. I've only played it solo, but it does like local servers.
You can chop trees, dude.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yep.
How
And
does it
mine
sound?
rocks.
Yeah, man. It's pretty awesome.
It's free. Oh my god.
It's
How does
gotten
it
over
sound, though?
6
I
million downloads, and
Holy
it has
crap.
not been out very long. But Danny, he's blown up on YouTube. Also, he has several million subscribers. But
Dang, bro.
even just videos, I was telling Mike this. I was like, even just videos by really small channels, like even smaller than my channel, or you guys are making videos playing Muck, and they're just blowing up because
Oh wow. Yeah.
people love the game so much,
Mm.
and his following is so big. So yeah, that might be something to consider for a Let's Play one day.
Those
Yeah,
graphics
yeah.
look pretty cool.
Yeah, they're definitely unique. All of his games, if you look up his style, they're real, like low poly, kind of silly looking stuff. Like the cows look real
Yeah.
derpy.
Yeah.
The dragon is hilarious looking.
Yeah,
This one image.
yeah, man.
That's sweet. I might have to give that a check.
Yeah, we should totally play some
Survival
Muck, man.
roguelike. Collect resources, find items, and build a base. To
No
survive.
reason not to.
Building.
It's free.
Yeah,
Bro,
exactly.
Right.
It's like Valheim 2,
Yeah.
non-Viking edition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's go
Viking
make
Minecraft.
Go make a new canal. There you
Yeah,
have
man.
it.
Yeah,
Unite and
Sweet.
Muck, huh?
yeah. And Glow Home,
Well,
you know,
Of
Gotta
course,
play it.
Glow
Yeah.
Home playing it every day.
for real. I'm like, I delete my game all the time just so I can try different upgrade paths, but I'm
Yeah,
like level 17 right now or something stupid.
I've always been
So, can
curious
you
of
save?
that.
Yeah, yeah. In a recent update, I added where it saves the player's data, so it
Oh, nice.
keeps track of all of your stats and what upgrades you've gotten. Usually, though, because of so much stuff gets changed from that update, I recommend deleting your save, but you don't actually necessarily have to. Just you would have stats that didn't line up with what regular progression would be, right? You know, like if you played a game from 0 to level 10 and, you know, you got your damage up to whatever, but then in the next update, I increase that base damage. I'm not sure, but I don't think it would apply to you. You would still have your old stats and you would just get the new increment every time you upgraded or whatever.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So to avoid stuff like that, I just tell everybody you should go ahead and delete your save and start again. Once it's on Google Play, though, they support, which I don't fully understand it, goes back to the learning curve thing, but they use AAB files instead of APK files. And from what I understand, that's how come it's so easy to update apps on Google Play, because they auto delete and overwrite old things like save files and whatnot.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
they're crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much for joining us and telling us about Glow Home. It was really interesting, and it was really cool to get like the peek behind the curtain to understand and hear about all of the nuance and detailed stuff that goes into the games that we play. And like kind of like
man.
you're saying now, I think we all kind of have a better appreciation when we run into a bug or
Yeah.
run into an arrow quiver that we can't unequip.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's always something that you overlook. I'm telling you. Like
Yeah.
I want to, but I have yet to upload a bug-free update. I always have to go back and fix something. You know?
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
It's always something so crazy. It's just like, how did you miss that? You know?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And it's not a lack of testing. You know, the entire time through development, I add something, I test it. I add something, I test it. But it's the cross interactions further down the line that you don't foresee.
You don't think
Yeah.
of. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
crazy.
well, we'll make sure to include a link to the download for Glow Home in our episode description. And,
I appreciate it, man. Thank you for
one-
having me here.
Of course. So one thing that we like to do too with people we have on the show is add you as a featured channel on our YouTube page, so people can
Nice.
find your stuff easier. Sorry, I've like the hiccups. Like
No, you're good,
it's
man. My
hiccups, like,
throat's
right in the
so
middle,
dry.
right?
I need a drink.
During the
like-
intro
I'm like
of all the time.
I know, right? I'm like trying to push through, but it makes it sound like I am having
Yeah.
a stroke.
This is slightly off subject, but if you guys put hashtag Glow Home in your description, it'll be added to the landing page. I might have told you about this before. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think you put it in our Discord.
Yeah,
the
okay.
update for YouTube.
I mean,
hashtags
any
being
relevant
put away.
hashtags are always a good idea, but they've recently added landing pages. And so
wow.
basically, every video that has hashtag Glow Home, if you click that hashtag on YouTube, you'll be taken to this new landing page, and it'll only have videos that have that hashtag. And so, like everybody
that's
else that's
cool.
made a video playing Glow Home, they have it in there, and all my
Oh,
videos
nice.
have it in there.
Wow, that's
So, yeah.
cool.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to do that. There was something. Oh, we have an update for you guys, by the way. We have a Venmo for our podcast, and I'm trying to think of the least awkward way to kind of go about talking about our Venmo, because
Hey, keep your clothes on. Sorry.
we're talking about Venmo and people start taking their clothes
I
off.
know.
I get it. But yeah, so we obviously not trying to pressure anyone into giving us money or anything. But
But
we
give
wanted to
him money.
throw out the option in case any of you feel so kind-hearted to, spare a few bucks here or there from time to time. we do have a Venmo for the podcast, and any money that we would receive for the podcast would just go right back into the podcast. Because, let me tell you, Nick's salary, bro, I cannot
Right.
keep paying for him. And, we're adding Chad once a month. Like, my checking account is like,
Hurting.
it needs some more stimmy checks.
Right.
Let's
Plus, you guys
we'll
do giveaways, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Like, I got
mean, speaking of, let's see it.
Yes,
There's the shirt.
there it is.
Yeah, boy. By
I got the
way,
little
Underfunded Scientist
little
won a
guy back
giveaway.
there too.
Yeah. So we opened a Venmo, and you can find us at show-boys on Venmo. Again, don't feel like you need to go donate any money or anything, but if you feel so kind, we would greatly appreciate it. If you aren't able to help us out financially, the best thing you can do is subscribe and like our videos or episodes wherever you watch or listen to them, and just share them with your friends. That helps immensely as well. But yeah, am I leaving anything out, Nick?
I mean, we can drop a bit about how you and I are streaming a little bit more on the game
true.
front. I released basically my first like kind of how I play Civ. It's like an 8-minute video. It's just like how I set up games. So usually when you see me playing a game of Civ, these are the settings I'm rolling with. That's kind of how I get to where I am. So I'll probably keep doing those quick little videos as far as like how I play Civ, because that's what I like to do.
Yeah, we have been. I've been streaming occasionally from time to time when life's not too busy here at the house. So far all my streaming has been Pokemon related things. I was streaming
100%.
the trading card game online for a little bit. Started streaming a few sessions of Poke MMO, which was really fun, and I really want to get back to, but Unite has overtaken my life, and I've been streaming that. But yeah, game streaming might be a big thing, well, a thing, not a big thing, but a thing.
It could be a big thing in the future. Get on it early. No.
Yeah, exactly. It could be a thing that you see us do a lot more, or maybe other people do with us a lot more. Yeah, I don't know. More on that to come later. Join our Discord, of course, if you want to stay up to date with the most, recent Showboys news. If you want to hang out with Nick, myself, Chad's in there. Underfunded is in there, lurking around. It's always a fun place. We always got a lot of different kinds of conversations going on. If you do play Pokemon Unite, we have an entire Pokemon channel in there where I'm just spamming with videos and strategies and things. But yeah, we'd love to see you in there. We love talking with everyone in there. Do we have any more Bad Batch companion series? I think you tricked everyone last week.
I did, and
I think you
honestly, Disney tricked, I think, me before I could even notice. And I looked back at my notes, like it legit was a 14. That was all the reports at the beginning, at the onset. It was a 14 episode thing, but somehow we've arrived at 16 episodes. So there are 2 more episodes to go. The 15th is releasing tomorrow, Friday. We'll be doing that recap Sunday, and then finally the finale we'll be doing the following week. Basically.
Yeah, we'll see in 2 weeks when
I know
halfway through the episode you put out a statement again.
They just
psych.
They did just confirm what I've been saying for the past like 5 episodes. There will be a season
2.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome. Looking forward to that. The companion series has been really, really good. You and Mike, you're doing a great job with it. So make sure you tune in to that Sunday night, 9:00 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Chad, that's strange. You guys still putting out episodes?
We are, yes. We're like probably 3/4 of the way through our season right now, and we're about to put out an episode tomorrow on Kanika Jenkins, who disappeared from Chicago in a hotel.
Oh.
And it's a little different episode than we normally do, so you guys should totally check it out. That's strange.net.
I just listened to your Dahmer episode yesterday.
Yeah.
The day before. Spicy.
Very
good old
spicy.
Jeff. Good old Jeff.
Good old Jeff.
It's one thing
Local
us
boy.
Ohioans are known for: serial killers and rock stars and
Yeah.
astronauts, I think.
It's so rough.
Yeah, and apparently podcasters. By the way, the indie podcasting community, there's a ton of indie
Yeah.
podcasters in Ohio, just if anyone's wondering.
Because there's nothing to do here, man.
It's so true. Dragon Knot Studio says, your favorite dragon's back. What did I miss? A whole lot. We're about to end. You can always go back and watch, though. This video will be
Rewind.
available on YouTube and Facebook and Twitch right after the stream ends, and on all audio platforms on Monday. So quick thank you to everyone who tuned in the live stream and chimed in the comments. We appreciate and love all of you. Be sure to join Nick and Mikey on Sunday night for the Bad Batch Companion series, and check out any streams that pop up throughout the week. And yeah, see you next Thursday. Until then, have a wonderful evening and enjoy this slapping theme song. Good night.
Whoops.
Dude,
And
if
we're
it-
back.
So if we don't get canceled for
Hey,
the ridiculous things I say, it's probably because we had
We
naked
always-
children running around in the
hey,
background.
hey. Yeah, we're still live.
Yeah,
Oh.
Mike, you forgot to end it.
Oh, well, that's definitely gonna get us